Hello there and welcome to my guide for painting the Star Wars Shatterpoint. This is some Rescue Squad pack. As you can see, the very first thing I've done is sprayed them all with some matte white spray from Colourforge. Next, we're going to start painting the black areas on all of the miniatures with some Abaddon black. Next, we're going to use a mix of Basil Canum grey and contrast medium to wash the entire model and create a nice shade on all of that white and the black. While that dries, I'm going to use some Mournfang brown to paint the lower legs, the lower arms and the torso of Chewie. For the upper arms, upper legs and the head, we're going to use some Dryad bark. And then we'll give him a wash with some Agrax Earthshade, thinned down with some Lamia medium. Now the wash on the white should have dried, so we're going to start painting the black, and we're going to use some Corvus black for the first highlight, followed by Eshin grey for the second. This will be followed by a 50-50 mix of Eshin grey and Dawnstone. And then finally for Leia's belt, a little bit of Dawnstone just by itself. With the black and the grey out of the way, we're going to move on to the white, and it's just going to be using matte white. However, we're going to use it very thinned down and we're going to do multiple layers. Make sure you keep your paint nice and thin and just take your time with this bit because it's going to take a while. White can be quite frustrating, but lots of thin layers and it'll look perfectly fine. With the white out of the way, we're going to use some Bugman's Glow to paint Han and Luke's face. And then we're going to use Cadian Flesh Tone to paint Leia's skin. Then all of that skin will receive a wash with some Reichland Flesh Shade. While that wash dries, we'll go back to Chewbacca and we're going to use a 50-50 mix of Mournfang Brown and Wraithbone for the first highlight. This is of course just the Mournfang Brown areas. And for the next highlight in those same areas, we'll use the same mix but at a 70-30 ratio in favour of Wraithbone. Then moving on to the Dryad Bark, we'll use a 50-50 mix of Dryad Bark and Wraithbone for these areas. And then for the second highlight, we'll use the same mix, but at a 70-30 ratio once again in favour of Wraithbone. Into that Dryad Bark Wraithbone mix, we're also going to add in a little bit of Mournfang Brown, just to give it a slightly lighter and different colour brown, and we're going to paint that near his cheeks, his chin and his eyebrows. And then we'll add a tiny little bit more Mournfang Brown. This is purely to your taste, so put as much in as you like, and we'll do a second highlight. To paint his hands and his feet, we're going to use some Corvus Black. And to highlight those feet, we'll use a 50-50 mix of Corvus Black and matte white. Next, we'll paint Chewie's nose and the inside of anyone's mouth along with their eye sockets with some Abaddon Black. The eyes will then be followed by some matte white along with the teeth. Once again, this will be followed by Abaddon Black for the pupils. I'm then going to use some Mournfang Brown to paint Chewie's pouch, which I will give a wash with some Army Painter Soft Tone. While that wash dries, we're going to use a 50-50 mix of Bugman's Glow and Cadian Flesh Tone to start painting the skin of Luke and Han. This will be then followed by some Cadian Flesh Tone. And we'll also use the Cadian Flesh Tone on Leia just to brighten things up a little bit. Of course, make sure you avoid any recesses. Next, and this is for everyone, we're going to use a 50-50 mix of Cadian Flesh Tone and Kislev Flesh. And then we're going to use Kislev Flesh just by itself, and this is mostly at the tips and peaks. Things like nose, eyebrows and knuckles. Then we're going to use some Dryad Bark to paint Han and Leia's hair. And for Luke, we're going to use some Xandri Dust. Then we'll wash all that hair with some Agrax Earthshade. The wash of the pouch should be dry by now, so we're going to use a 50-50 mix of Mournfang Brown and Scrag Brown for the first highlight. And then we'll edge highlight the rest with some Scrag Brown just by itself. For the silver bits on the bandolier, we're going to use some Iron Hand Steel. And for any other metal, we're going to use some Iron Warriors. All the Iron Warriors will then be highlighted with some Iron Hand Steel. For any mud areas on the bases, we're going to use some XV88, which will edge highlight with some Tau-Light Ochre. For the concrete, we're going to use some Dawnstone. And we'll highlight that with some Grey Seer. Then we'll paint the rims with some Abaddon Black. And finally, wash the entire base with some watered down Agrax Earthshade. And there we are, nice, quick and easy, mostly because we start with white and basically we just do a little bit of a shade and then add some more white on top of it. I'm really happy with the way these guys have come out, and I really did enjoy painting them, but I always tend to enjoy painting Atomic Matters stuff. They're also nice and quick to paint as well, only taking about 4 hours for all 4. The best thing to remember is while painting that white, just take your time, don't rush it too much, and just do as many layers as you need to get it as smooth as you can. If you followed this guide, I really do hope it helped, and I hope you want to check out more of the videos on it. We've got more Star Wars Shatterpoint stuff, as well as lots of other stuff on there as well. And thank you so much for watching, and all that's left to say is goodbye for now. So goodbye for now.